Okay, so this is lesson 3 practice that you should have done at home before you completed your check. I just want to go through these, make sure we understand the product of power rule, because today we're going to move on and it's going to include the power to power rule. So number 1, you should have put an exponent of 1, added up your exponents, 1 plus 2 plus 4 to get x to the 7th. In number 2, you should have multiplied your two coefficients first to get -6, and then you're going to add 5 plus 2, final answer, -6n to the 7th. Number 3, the 1 is already there, so we're going to add that 1 exponent, we're going to keep the base the same, add the powers together to get -a to the 6th power. With number 4, you can see there's a coefficient, but since there aren't any other coefficients, we're going to bring the coefficient down, keep our base the same, add up our exponents, and get 7n to the 7th. For number 5, we have 3 coefficients that we need to multiply together. So 6 times 3 times 2 would be 36. We're going to keep our y base the same, add up our exponents for a final answer of 36y to the 9th. In number 6, be careful because you have 2 different bases. Your c base is the only base that can be added to get c to the 6th, and then we're just going to tag on d to the 3rd for that final answer. In number 7, take care of your coefficients first. Remember, 2 negatives multiplied give you a positive, so you get 16. There are 3 1s to be added together, so 16x to the 3rd. In number 8, again, coefficients first. So 4 times 7, 28. Make sure you're only combining like bases, so the y's combine, 3 plus 4 gives you 7. The x tags on. Just a reminder, the order here doesn't matter. So if you wrote 28x squared, y to the 7th, your answer is also correct. And that applies to any of the previous examples if they had 2 variable bases in them. In number 9, we keep our base -y, add up 3, 7, and 4 to get an exponent of 14. So those 9 examples covered the product of power rule. And then the next 3 examples that you should have done should have included the negative rule plus the product of power rule. So remember, when we're talking about the negative rule, we have to have an upstairs and a downstairs party. So we can create this over 1 to create the up and down. The negative exponents always move down. The positive exponents always stay where they're at. Now, if we had started with anything underneath and it was positive, it would have stayed on the bottom of the fraction. We use our product of power rule to get x to the 3rd over x to the 5th. Next class period, we will learn how to simplify this x over x situation, but for now, you should be leaving it like that. In the second example, we are going to take care of anything that has a negative exponent first. Now, when you do this, just a reminder that coefficients are not attached to variables. So in this example, the y to the 3rd and the y to the 5th move downward, but the 2, the 7y squared, and the 5 stay up top. Even though the 2 and the 5 look attached to those y's, we leave them alone. Take care of our coefficient numbers. So we get 70. Y to the 2nd stays up top. And we use our product rule on the bottom. We add 3 plus 5 and get y to the 8th. Again, this can be simplified more, but we'll talk about that in lesson 5. And then in our last example, make your up and down because I see 2 negative exponents. Keep anything positive up top. Move anything to the negative exponent on the bottom in order to make it positive. And you can eliminate those parentheses because remember, multiplication goes together. And this does not matter. You cannot combine the x and y on top or the x and y on bottom. Therefore, that is your final answer. No specific order is necessary. So if you put your x's both first and then your y's, you have the same answer. You are good to go. So those should have been the 12 problems you did as practice, as well as submitted your check. And the next thing we're going to do is turn and do the next lesson on power to power rules.